You ate breakfast. It looked healthy. Maybe oatmeal, whole grain toast, fruit yogurt, or a smoothie with seeds on top because seeds make every breakfast look extremely responsible. I know this pattern. I've eaten a breakfast that looked like the perfect healthy choice, and then found myself searching for a snack before the morning was even half over. You expect to be fine until lunch, but then 10:30 arrives, and you are looking for food like breakfast happened 3 business days ago. And that can be frustrating, because you did eat. You tried to make a good choice. So why are you already hungry again? For a long time, I thought this was simply an appetite problem. Maybe I was eating too much. Maybe I had no discipline. Maybe my stomach was just being unnecessarily dramatic. But often, the problem is much simpler. Your breakfast may look healthy without doing a very good job of keeping you full. That does not mean your appetite is broken. And it does not mean you need to remove every carbohydrate and begin each morning with a mountain of eggs. Your breakfast may simply be missing one important piece. So today, I'll show you why some healthy-looking breakfasts leave you hungry again so quickly, and how to fix the breakfast you already eat. No banned food groups, no complicated meal plan. Just a breakfast that makes the rest of your morning easier. The first thing to understand is simple. Healthy and filling are not the same thing. An apple is healthy, but one apple may not be breakfast. Whole grain toast is healthy, but one slice of toast and coffee may leave your stomach waiting for the rest of the meal. Oatmeal can be a great breakfast, but a small bowl made with water is very different from oatmeal with protein, fruit, and enough food to satisfy you. I used to think that choosing a healthy ingredient automatically created a healthy meal, but a meal is more than one good ingredient. The word healthy tells you something about the food. It does not automatically tell you whether that food will keep you full. Your breakfast can be organic, served in a beautiful bowl, and photographed next to a small plant. Your stomach does not care about the presentation, it only knows what arrived, and whether it was enough. This is where many people start blaming themselves. They think, or, I already ate, why can't I control myself? I know that thought. You make an effort, you choose the responsible breakfast, and when hunger comes back, it feels like your body ignored the entire plan. But hunger is not a character test, it is information. Your body may simply be telling you that the meal did not last. So instead of asking, what is wrong with me? Ask, what was missing from breakfast? A filling breakfast usually needs 3 things: a clear source of protein, fiber, or volume, and enough food for your actual morning. Let's start with protein. Protein helps make meals more satisfying. It takes time to digest, supports your muscles, and can help you stay full for longer. That matters because weight loss becomes much easier when you are not thinking about food every 90 minutes. Now look at some common breakfasts. Toast with jam, oatmeal made with water, fruit and coffee, a small bowl of cereal, a smoothie made mostly from fruit. These foods are not automatically bad, but where is the protein? Sometimes it is barely there, and a teaspoon of seeds cannot carry the entire breakfast on its back. I've made this mistake too. You add a few seeds, look at the bowl, and think, yes, nutrition has clearly happened. But breakfast still needs a real protein source. That could be eggs, Greek yogurt, skyr, cottage cheese, milk or soy milk with enough protein, tofu, or protein powder if that works for you. You do not need all of them. Breakfast is not a protein convention. Choose one. If you eat oatmeal, add Greek yogurt or another protein source. If you eat toast, add eggs or cottage cheese. If you eat fruit, combine it with yogurt. If you make a smoothie, include enough protein for it to function as a meal. The simple question is, where is the protein? If you cannot point to it, that may be the first problem. The second thing is fiber or volume. Fiber helps slow digestion. Volume helps the meal feel more substantial. You can get that from berries, whole fruit, vegetables, oats, or whole grains. This is one reason fruit and fruit juice do not work in exactly the same way. With whole fruit, you chew. You get more fiber. The food takes longer to eat. Juice disappears quickly. Your body receives energy, but the meal may not feel very satisfying. Smoothies can have the same problem. A smoothie made with banana, mango, juice, and a small handful of spinach can look incredibly healthy. It is green. It contains fruit. The spinach is hiding inside, hoping nobody asks it to affect the flavor. I understand why people like smoothies. They are quick, they are convenient, and they make you feel like the morning is already going well. But if the smoothie contains very little protein, you may still be hungry soon afterward. The smoothie entered the kitchen, waved politely, and left before your stomach learned its name. That does not mean smoothies are bad. They just need structure. Use whole fruit instead of juice when possible. Add a real protein source. Include fiber. And consider eating something solid with it. Chewing helps breakfast feel like a real meal instead of something you finished while searching for your keys. Sweet coffee can create a similar problem. It may contain plenty of calories without making you feel full. I know how easy it is to think it has milk, it counts. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it is mostly a sweet drink standing next to a very small breakfast. The calories arrived. The satisfaction did not. The third issue is simple. Your breakfast may not be big enough. When people try to lose weight, they often make breakfast very small. One slice of toast, half a banana, coffee, done. It looks controlled. It feels disciplined. But it is not much food. I used to think a smaller breakfast was automatically better for weight loss. Less food must mean better results, right? But if that breakfast sends you looking for 3 snacks before lunch, it may not be helping very much. A breakfast that could fit inside an envelope is not automatically better. If you become hungry 1 or 2 hours later, your body may simply need a more substantial meal. Especially if you wake up hungry, exercise in the morning, eat dinner early, or have a long wait until lunch. Your breakfast should match your actual morning, not somebody else's morning. Not the morning of a person online who wakes up at noon, drinks coffee, and announces that hunger is a mindset. The goal is not to eat the smallest breakfast you can survive. The goal is to eat enough to make your next good decision easier. Because a tiny breakfast may save some calories at 8 a.m. and then send you towards several unplanned snacks at 10:30. At that point, the small breakfast did not remove the eating. It just made it less organized. So if your breakfast already contains protein and fiber, but hunger still returns quickly, make it slightly larger. Add another egg. Add more yogurt. Add berries, add oats, make one small change. You do not need to create a breakfast buffet with its own customer service department. Now let's talk about carbohydrates. Because breakfast advice gets dramatic very quickly. One person says oatmeal is perfect. Another says oatmeal is destroying your metabolism. Someone else is filming an emergency warning about bananas. Meanwhile, the banana has no idea why it is involved. Carbohydrates are useful. Your brain and muscles use them for energy. But when breakfast contains mostly refined carbohydrates or added sugar and very little protein or fiber, the energy may not last long. For some people, hunger or cravings return sooner. But we should not blame every hungry morning on one dramatic blood sugar crash. Sometimes the explanation is much simpler. The breakfast was too small. It contained little protein. It contained little fiber, or it was mostly liquid. Often several of these things happen together. Take flavored yogurt with granola. It sounds healthy. Yogurt, whole grains, maybe honey. Granola also has one of the strongest marketing teams in the supermarket, but some versions contain plenty of added sugar and less protein than you expect. I've looked at breakfasts like this and thought, this has yogurt and oats. We are clearly doing everything correctly. Then hunger returns and the breakfast acts like it was never involved. The solution is not to become frightened of yogurt or granola. Choose a higher protein yogurt. Add your own fruit. Use a smaller amount of granola for texture. The same idea works with toast. Keep the toast. Add eggs, cottage cheese, or another protein-rich topping. Maybe include fruit or vegetables on the side. Carbohydrates provide energy. Protein and fiber help the meal last. The goal is balance, not a courtroom where bread has to prove its innocence. So how do you know whether your breakfast is built well? Ask 3 questions. First, where is the protein? Can you point to a real protein source? Not a tiny amount hiding somewhere in the background. A clear part of the meal. Second, where is the fiber or volume? Do you have fruit, berries, vegetables, oats, or another fiber-rich food? Third, is this enough food for my morning? Not somebody else's morning, yours. Will this realistically take you to lunch? Or are you hoping one rice cake and optimism will carry you for 5 hours? I like these questions because they are simple. You do not need to calculate everything. You do not need to turn breakfast into a science project. You just look at the meal and ask whether it has the parts that help it last. These questions are usually more useful than asking whether breakfast is officially healthy, because breakfast does not need to win a nutrition award. It needs to work. You do not need a completely new breakfast. Fix the one you already like. That is the part I find most helpful. You are not starting over. You are not throwing away every food in the kitchen. You are just adding what the meal is missing. If you eat oatmeal, add Greek yogurt, protein powder, or another protein source. Add berries or whole fruit. If you eat toast, add eggs, cottage cheese, or another protein-rich topping. If you eat yogurt, choose a higher protein option. Add fruit and a small amount of oats, nuts, or seeds. If you drink a smoothie, add protein and fiber. And consider eating something solid with it. These are not new diets. They are small repairs. That matters because people often hear that their breakfast is not working and immediately create a morning routine that requires 6 ingredients, 2 pans, a blender, and emotional support. I know how quickly a simple improvement can turn into a completely new lifestyle plan. You start by adding yogurt. 20 minutes later, you are researching special containers and reorganizing the refrigerator. You do not need that. Keep the food you enjoy. Fix the missing piece. Here is your action step. Choose the breakfast you normally eat. For the next 3 mornings, improve one thing, add protein, add fiber or volume, or make the meal slightly larger. Do not change everything at once. because then you will not know which change actually helped. Then notice, when do you actually feel hungry? I like this test because it gives you useful information without demanding perfection. You are not judging the breakfast. You are testing it. If breakfast normally lasts 90 minutes and the improved version lasts 3 or 4 hours, you learned something. Let's keep this simple. If your healthy breakfast does not keep you full, you are not failing. It may contain too little protein, too little fiber or volume. It may be mostly liquid, or it may simply be too small. You do not need to fear bread, fruit, or oats, and you do not need to completely rebuild your morning. Ask 3 questions. Where is the protein? Where is the fiber? And is this enough food? Then fix one missing piece. Your breakfast should make the rest of your day easier. It should help you reach lunch without spending the whole morning thinking about snacks. Because when hunger is quieter, good decisions require less effort. You are not fighting yourself every 2 hours. You are not trying to rescue the day before noon. And you are not blaming your discipline for a meal that simply did not do its job. I know how discouraging it feels when you make a good choice and still feel as though your body is working against you. But sometimes you do not need more discipline. You just need a meal that supports you better. So tomorrow, do not aim for a perfect breakfast. Build one that lasts. And if you're going to test one change, write this in the comments. I'll fix my breakfast. Just one better meal that makes the next choice easier. And if nobody told you today, you can do it. And I'll help you, one simple step at a time.